This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic! What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is December 19th, 2024. Jonathan Osborne here. As always, you know I am joined by my co-host, Kevin Tucker. Kevin Tucker, how the frickin' heck are we?
Jonathan, I'm excited because tonight, as you guys are listening to this, on Thursday, December 19th, Magic host Oklahoma City on TNT, so that's exciting. Part 2 is the Sixth Man Show's annual group night, so that's exciting. Going to have I don't know how many we have, 120, 150, something like that. People going to be sitting in our seating section, which is always exciting. And it's my first Magic game of the year. For those that know, like, I've had all these health issues, but I can finally travel and do all kinds of fun stuff. And so, yeah, I'm going to my first Magic game of the season, which is hard to believe. So for all of those reasons, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Like you said, I'm ready for that game as we're recording that. That's tomorrow for us. Today, if you're listening to this on Thursday, yeah, looking forward to the group night. It's always fun to get together with our listeners, some people that we've met, some people that we haven't met before. One of the things that I'm most excited for is our friend Manny, who has been doing our social media videos for the last 2 seasons. He lives in Australia, so he is actually in the States and is going to be attending his first ever Orlando Magic home game. He's seen the Magic play in LA a couple seasons ago. He watched them play the Lakers and the Clippers, if I remember correctly. But he is actually in the Sunshine State, in the city beautiful, to watch our Orlando Magic. He's going to actually watch them play, I think, 3 games, OKC, Miami, and Boston, in the next week or so. So pumped to meet him, pumped to see all of our listeners. And speaking of, our listeners and people that bought tickets, if you were one of the first 100 to purchase tickets, go back in your email. If you haven't seen it already, last week, Thursday, you should have received an email from Jonathan McCall, which gives you all the instructions on where to be, when to be there, and how to get into the pregame, the warm-ups that basically we have to be there at 4:45, no later than 4:45. You have to be outside of the entrance that's designated in that email. And there is a waiver that you have to have filled out to be able to get in the door. You will not be allowed in. If you don't have that, you won't be allowed in until 6 o'clock, and you won't get to experience the pregame stuff. So, yeah, I'm pumped up for that.
And just want to reiterate, don't be late. Do not be late. If you miss it, you miss it. Nothing we can do about it. And then the last thing, unrelated to tickets, unrelated to anything, this is the one game a year that we do not have a post-game live. Okay, so if you're one of the people that like to hop on YouTube right after the game and get in the chat and get involved in all those kinds of things, this is the one game a year we take the night off because our whole team, almost everybody, will be at this game for our group night on Thursday night. So going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, don't be looking for a post-game live because there won't be one.
And I have had a handful of people reach out and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it to the pregame. Can I transfer that to somebody else? That is non-transferable, unfortunately. And that's not us. That's not a us thing. That is the Magic thing. So unfortunately, if you're not able to make it, you're just not able to make it to that. But we're looking forward to seeing you all at the game. And I was thinking about this earlier. I almost want to huddle everybody up, all 100 plus of us that are going to be there, and give a pregame speech. Because the reason that we do this is because the game is on TNT. It's a quality opponent. Obviously, down Paolo, down Franz. All the guys on the roster are going to have to leave it all on the floor Thursday night. Us as fans, we're going to have to leave it in the stands. We're going to have to leave it in section 101, 102 where we're sitting. So if you're coming to the game, I don't want you leaving with your voice. I better see you talking like this after the game. I want you sounding like RFK after the game. That's like Doc Rivers. I want to hear your best Doc Rivers impression.
Right. Your throat doctor is going to want to see you after this.
Anyways, all right. Yes, absolutely. Quick reminder, our shirts, the 6-man long sleeve, is up for pre-order. If you haven't seen that, you can head to our social media pages, or you can, I think Kev might throw a little picture of that up right now while I'm talking about this if you're watching this on YouTube. So if you'd like to pre-order one of those, the pre-order is doing really, really well. We're really appreciative of everyone who has bought a shirt so far. We got an email from my boss from like 10 years ago, who I probably have not talked to in 8+ years. She bought a shirt and sent me a really, really nice email. So just appreciate everybody that supported us so far. If you would like to either check out the shirt, see what it looks like, or purchase one for you or someone in your life, you can head to thesixmanshow.com/shop. And yeah, pre-order those. Really, really appreciate everyone's support. And one other thing here, we are running a holiday discount on our Patreon. So if you've ever wanted to join the Patreon, now is the perfect opportunity to do that. Between now and the end of the year, you get 15% off either your first month or your first year, depending on how you want to sign up. And you can go to patreon.com/thesixmanshow or patreon.com/thesixmanshow. Yes, again, to sign up and use code 6MAS, the number 6 MAS at checkout to get 15% off of that. And we get asked all the time when our next watch party is. And I am excited to announce that our next watch party is coming up on Friday, January 14th, when the Orlando Magic take on the Boston Celtics. Tip off to that game is at 7 o'clock. We are going to be at Stadium Club, which is located at the Caribe Royale Resort. And I do have that address. It is 8101 World Center Drive in Orlando. Again, that is at the Caribe Royale Orlando Resort. Stadium Club it's a sports bar, like inside their lobby. If you've never seen the Caribe Royale Orlando, it is a beautiful hotel. And when you walk inside, you actually go down into their lobby, and that's where the Stadium Club is there. They had myself and Matt out at the beginning of the season for like a VIP party that they did for the NFL kickoff. And it is legitimately probably the coolest venue that we have ever done a watch party at. Obviously, it's just beautiful. It's brand new inside. But around the bar, they have a 360 like video screen where you can watch the game from any angle, wherever you're sitting at the bar. They have multiple sports simulator bays that you can reserve, so you can do like golf, football, basketball, like all different kind of sports on the sports simulator. The food and the drinks are all fantastic. Like, you do not want to miss a watch party. If you've never been to one of our watch parties and you're saying, okay, maybe I'll get to one this year, this is the one that you want to go to, folks. It's going to be a great time. It's an awesome venue. It's a great game. Cannot wait for this one.
Yeah, just want to clarify. It's January 17th. I think Jonathan said January 14th. We have a later watch party that is also on a 14th, but that's later in the year. January 17th, Stadium Club. It's going to be epic. I was planning to be there, and then my sister decided she wants to get married on January 18th. So
selfish.
A little bit of late game drama there. No, just kidding. Shout out to my sister. Love her to death. Can't wait for that. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be crazy. That venue is truly wild. And yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. And hopefully the Magic get a win too.
Get you guys a friend who listens to the things that you say and knows when you're saying something wrong and will correct you the way that Kevin does. I always appreciate that, because I would have people showing up at the wrong date and the wrong time, and it'd be really embarrassing. So shout out to Kevin. Kev, let's talk some basketball. The NBA announced this week that they are officially, once again, altering the format to this year's All-Star game. So this year, what they are doing is they're taking the 24 All-Stars, breaking those All-Stars up into 3 separate teams, 8 All-Stars apiece, and then taking the 8 players from the winner of the NBA Rising Stars Challenge. So it'll be a total of 4 teams, 8 players apiece, and they're going to play in a mini tournament. So there will be 3 games total. And for each game, the winner will be the first team to reach or surpass 40 points. And they're going to have Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and I believe Candace Parker are going to be Candace Parker is going to be one of the GMs, but she's going to be the GM of the Rising Stars team. And then Chuck, Shaq, and Kenny will draft the 3 other teams. Kevin, how do you feel about this? Because I hate it and I think it's stupid.
My first reaction is obviously it's just another gimmick, which the NBA is desperate, right, to make the All-Star game fun again, make the All-Star game great again. It's just like it's rough. So on the one hand, I'm like, kudos, I guess, for just trying something different. But on the other hand, I don't know if this is it. Like, I don't know. the Rising Stars thing, like if there's a couple silver linings for me. On the one hand, the Rising Stars is lame, but at the same time, if you're going to put 8 All-Stars against 8 Rising Stars, you think the All-Stars don't want to try in that game? You know, like they don't want to lose to the rookies and the sophomores. At least I don't. I hope they don't, right? So maybe they try really hard in that game. I don't know. But I was thinking about this, like the fact is that there will be they're teams of 8, right? Is that what we said? Yeah, teams of 8. So the winning team is going to play in 2 games, and each game is to 40 points, right? So the winning team is only going to score a maximum of 80 points on the night. And if you think about like past All-Star games, like they were in the like 150s and beyond sometimes, right? 140s, I don't remember.
Almost 200 either last year.
One of them, yeah.
Before.
Yeah. So obviously it's a little bit different. It's an 8-player team instead of a full 12, but so that was kind of weird to me, like the fact that they're just going to score a total of 80 points. So I don't know what that's going to be like. All in all, I'm going to wait to reserve judgment till afterwards, but I'm just kind of like meh about it all. But I loved Kevin Durant. I don't love Kevin Durant, but I did like when he was asked, and he was just brutally honest. He was like, terrible.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I hate it. We should go back to East-West and just play a game, which I think a lot of people agree. We just want the players to actually play the game, and so far that's not happening right now.
That's my thing. Like, I do think there's always the level of nostalgia where you remember what life was like when you were younger and times were simpler and, you know, life was allegedly better, all that kind of stuff. And then you relate to things from that time and you just think they were inherently better. But like, I remember, was it Kyrie Irving and Brandon Knight? Was it those two going back and forth in like the rookie? It wasn't even the Rising Stars game. It was the rookie sophomore game
the rookie
years ago.
Yeah.
It was Kyrie and someone. I think it was Brandon Knight, but I could be wrong about that. But that was so much fun. I remember like looking forward to those games and those games actually being good and mattering. Part of it is like we knew who those guys were. You talk to any semi-casual NBA fan, they may not even know who Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are. Like that's just the fact of the matter. I do think this is yet another gimmick, and we can talk about all of the Adam Silver gimmicks that have gimmicked, you know, since he's been the commissioner of the league. But ultimately, this comes down to whether or not the guys want to play in the game, right? Listen, if you want the honor of being named an All-Star, you have to play in the All-Star game, and you have to play in the All-Star game like it matters. You don't get the title and then act like you're too cool to play in the game. That is the lamest freaking thing in the entire world to me. I don't know who exactly started it, when it started, right? It used to feel like, sure, maybe like the first half was kind of a free-for-all, but then it usually felt like, you know, the third and fourth quarters, guys like really started to buckle down and play. And I don't think that you really get that anymore, but I think the league just genuinely has a star problem, and they don't have anyone to blame but themselves. People want to pay attention to LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, you know, and you know, in years past it was guys like Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Like those guys aren't all-star caliber players anymore. And the guys who are all-star caliber players, nobody freaking knows who they are. Like the casual viewer who doesn't have anything to do that weekend during the All-Star, you know, weekend, and they turn on the TV, they don't know who most of these guys are. They don't really know who Ja Morant is. They don't know who Anthony Edwards is, or Devin Booker, or Paolo Banchero. Like, they just don't know who these guys are, because for whatever reason, as these guys have started to ascend over the course of the last, 5-6 years, the NBA has just been so desperately holding on to the LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant era. And it's to the detriment of the league. And it's a detriment to this All-Star weekend that people just don't care. And at some point, participating in the slam dunk contest and playing in the Rising Stars game, playing in the All-Star game, at some point that stopped being cool, right? Now everybody wants to be in the three-point contest, but even at its height, you can't tell me that like the best version of the three-point contest and the best version of the slam dunk contest are equally as exciting. Like, go back to the 2016 slam dunk contest between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. There will probably never be a better, more exciting All-Star weekend event than we had that year. And for whatever reason, like, we never got LeBron James. We never got Zion in the dunk contest. I don't think we've ever got Ja, if I'm remembering correctly. So like, if you want to be an all-star, you have to take that weekend seriously, because if you don't take that weekend seriously and put forth like a good product, there's no point in even being an all-star. These guys just want it because it's a contract incentive for them, and they get a little bit of a pay bump. Like, if you don't take the all-star game seriously, they should just put out a list, don't play the games, don't have a weekend, just say, hey, these are the all-stars, give them their money, and that should be it. I'm so sick and tired of being disappointed year in, year out with the all-star weekend.
Yeah, I think there's two separate but related things that you talked about, and I think you're right on both of them. First off, the league is a problem because, like you said, they're holding on to some of the older stars, and they haven't fully embraced and endorsed and publicized the new ones, right? As far as the All-Star game stuff goes, I'm going to this is not a name I invoke lightly, okay? I'm being serious when I say this. Like, I want to talk about Kobe, okay? And let me explain. Like, rest in peace. Kobe didn't do this stuff when it comes to All-Star. Kobe played in All-Star games. Like you said, maybe it's chill in the first half, whatever. Second half, Kobe went for it. Didn't matter who he was facing. He went for it and wanted to win. And so you can look back even just that many years. It hasn't been that long since there were guys that actually tried and gave a crap about the All-Star game. And so I'm like, these guys, they all say they look up to Kobe and all those kinds of things, and they do in different ways. But like, I wish they could just look at him and look at his legacy as a competitor and look at the All-Star game and be like, yeah, I want to be like Kobe in that too, right? Like, if I get injured, so what? Already got enough money saved up because, I've hopefully been wise with my money or whatever. I don't understand where that comes from. And ultimately, I think it does come down to like they're afraid to get injured and lose out on money, but that means they've lost like their true love and passion for like the core of what the game is, right? And like you said, the honor that it is to be on that court on that night, right? And that part is what's frustrating to me, because like you said, like growing up, we saw the best of the best go at each other. Again, maybe it wasn't the full game, but like that second half, those fourth quarters, they were electric more often than not. And so I wish they could invoke some of the guys of the past and find that spirit again.
Not to get like philosophical or anything like that, but I do think there's something to like, one, the amount of money that these guys are making. Like, it's almost impossible to not be disconnected from like an everyday person when you're
That's
making
true.
the amount of money that these guys are making. And then just the way that social media in a way has like, some of these guys almost seem to have like they have a disdain for fans, like to a certain respect. And it's not all of them, but at the end of the day, like these guys have to remember that without the fans, like the fans are the vessel that makes the machine run. Without the fans, there's no viewership. Without viewership, there's no TV deals. Without TV deals, there's no, $250 million contracts and all this kind of stuff that these guys are making. And sure, I know there's an aspect of like these guys, not wanting to get hurt. Nobody wants these guys to get hurt during these games, but you could get hurt in a summer like pickup run. You could get hurt in practice. Like, you're playing basketball, you could literally be hurt at any time, like 82 games. The odds of you being significantly hurt in this game are incredibly low. I genuinely can't remember the last time somebody was significantly hurt in an all-star game. I just don't recall that ever happening, at least not in my lifetime. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but it just, to me, it's all these crappy, lame excuses where it's like, at the end of the day, people they want to see the alley-oops. Do they want to see you guys take 83s in these games? Probably not. But like, we do want to see a certain level of competitive like nature and energy. And I do think there's like an element of some of these guys, like they're just kind of too cool to play really hard in the All-Star game. There's like a weird kind of stigma around playing hard in the All-Star game. But I don't think this is the answer, this new format. I don't think it's going to work. I do think they just need to go back to East and West, and they need to go back to just playing really hard in these games. And I think that fixes a lot of like the problems with this. I think the big names and the stars of the league need to go back to, participating in like the slam dunk contest and all these kind of things. Like the 3-point contest is fantastic. That's been really good, for the last several years. what was it last year where they added like Sabrina Ionescu and like the Steph Curry thing. I thought that was awesome as well. But this just is not it for the All-Star game. And we interrupt this episode to talk about our friends over at Jam Hot Chicken. Jam Hot Chicken is proudly serving the city beautiful. Jam Hot Chicken is bringing jams culture and hot chicken to the heart of Winter Park. Jam Hot Chicken is a Nashville and LA inspired hot chicken shack, locally owned and operated over in Winter Park, Florida, located at 400 West New England Avenue, Suite 13 in Hannibal Square. Follow at Jam Hot Chicken on all social media and check them out at jamhotchickenfl.com to access all things on Jam Hot. You can also now order them locally on Uber Eats. And I am going to be there Thursday afternoon. So if you're in the area, you need something to eat before the game, swing through there, say what's up. They love when Magic fans come through. And that's the other thing. These are huge, diehard Orlando Magic fans. They come out to a ton of our events, watch parties, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to support an Orlando local business and fantastic food as well and support other Magic fans, there's no other place to do it than Jam Hot Chicken.
The Six Man Show is brought to you by Daniel Flores, Cannibalism, Abantopolis, Jeremiah Quintero, and Victor Colon. Those are 5 of our Hall of Fame and Elite tier patrons at our Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/The Sixth Man Show. Those 5 and all of our other great patrons, they financially support The Sixth Man Show. They make all these things possible. Things like this show, like watch parties, like our new logo, like the shirts that we're selling now, like all those things. None of it would be possible without our amazing patrons. And so if you like the content here enough to support us financially, you can head to patreon.com/The Sixth Man Show. Take a look at the different tiers and offerings that we have. Pick the one that's right for you. And then there you go. You're signed up to financially support the show. And like Jonathan said at the top of the show, right now we're running 15% off. That's 15% off of your first month or your first year if you're a new patron. So check that out. If you've ever been on the fence, now's the time to do that. Yeah, big shout out to all of our patrons, and let's get back to the episode.
In other news, the Milwaukee Bucks, they did win the NBA Cup over the OKC Thunder, smacked them up pretty good. Giannis and Dame obviously, led the way for the Bucks. The reason that I want to bring that up is just because the Magic, in terms of the knockout round, gave the Bucks pretty much as good of a fight as anyone did. That in the knockout rounds, that was their closest game, the game against the Magic, in which the Magic led in, the last, minute or last couple of minutes of that game. So it just makes you really wonder, like, what this Magic team could have done fully healthy. Maybe not even fully healthy, but if they just would have had Franz Wagner, I think there's a very good chance that the Magic and the Thunder would have been playing 2 games in a row.
On TNT. Well, Tuesday would have been on ABC, but on national television. Yeah,
Tuesday and then on Thursday. That would have been pretty cool. Right. To see that, and then to see, basically the rematch. And then, when was the last time an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference team played each other 3 times in the same season? Maybe never.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
that's pretty wild.
Probably would have been last year's NBA Cup, actually.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
This only would have been the second time in history.
Since 2023. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's that. Yeah. The whole Bucks thing, not only did that happen, but Magic played them on the road and still had the lead under a minute left, and without Franz, without Paolo, and all that kind of stuff. So another moral victory there. But yeah, the other side of this for me is OKC was held to 81 points. They ended up 5 of 32 from 3 with an Orlando Magic-esque 15.6% from 3 on Tuesday night. So one of 2 things is going to happen on Thursday. Either number 1, it's a Vegas hangover, even though they lost, a Vegas hangover. It's a tough travel schedule like we talked about in the last episode. That game tipped off after 8:30 on Tuesday, and they got to turn around less than 48 hours later and play in Orlando for a 7 o'clock tip. So either they continue the bad offense and the poor shooting, or they get back on track. And so we're going to hope for the former, and the Magic can hold them to another terrible shooting night and give themselves a chance. But yeah, I was, for one, very surprised that OKC kind of, pooped the bed there on the big stage. Not that I was surprised that they lost necessarily, but it was pretty ugly. Pretty ugly. 81 points, 3 guys in double figures. Yikes. So we'll see. That definitely adds a little more intrigue to Thursday for me. Like, how is OKC going to bounce back?
And the league didn't really do them any favors here. Obviously, the league schedules the regular season and kind of schedules everything around the NBA Cup, and they don't know who's going to make the NBA Cup, or do they? Maybe they do. Maybe the script was written. But so they played Houston, obviously, in the knockout round last Saturday, and they played Milwaukee on Tuesday. Wednesday, travel to Orlando, play Orlando on Thursday, and then they play in Miami on Friday.
Yep.
So a nice, what is that? 3 games and 4 nights right there, and like a cross-country trip, essentially, for them. So
Vegas to Orlando to Miami back to OKC. It's a lot.
That's definitely a lot. And then at least when they get back to OKC, they're going to have a couple of days off, and then they play the Wizards. But
I'll also add it, at least for us, that gives Miami. We are the second night of Miami's back-to-back on Saturday, So there's that, because they play OKC Friday, then us on Saturday. So that'll be good, at least, to get Miami on the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah, 2 games in a row where you have a rest advantage. I am nervous. The Magic having 3 days off, it just seems like the last couple of seasons that has rarely, if ever, gone in our favor. But it is what it is. Well, no Magic basketball to talk about since our last episode. We're still. I'm mostly over the loss to the Knicks. It did, kind of sting. But yeah, we're eyes on OKC tonight at home. But as we are in the Christmas season here, Kevin and I, as we were talking about, what can we do for this episode, we thought it might be cool or fun, at least, maybe for us, maybe not for you all, who knows. But we're going to go through what like our Magic Christmas list would be, right? Like, you and your kids obviously are writing letters to Santa, who, and if kids are listening in the car, Santa, who is very much real and alive and well. You write your Christmas list to Santa of what you want underneath the tree, and we're going to write our lists here to Stuff, maybe. Maybe Stuff would be the person that would fulfill these wishes for us, Kevin. I don't really know. But basically, we're just going to go back and forth and talk about kind of like a draft. If we had our pick, what would be underneath the dragon on Christmas morning?
You might say, "This is my grown-up Christmas list." Maybe. I don't know. You might say that. That was free. That was free, by the way, guys. That was free. That didn't cost anyone a dime, so you're welcome.
It cost me something for sure. Some years off my life. But all right, let's, Kevin, call it. It's not in the air, but call heads or tails.
Tails.
Siri, heads or tails?
It's heads this time.
It is heads this time. I don't know if you guys heard Siri there.
Yeah,
all right.
I said heads. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Did you?
No, I said tails.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. I know I messed up the 14th and 17th earlier, but I don't know. Anyways, for me, number one, if there could be anything underneath my Magic Christmas dragon on Christmas morning, it would be a healthy Paolo Banchero. Quite obviously. Paolo and Franz have both officially been ruled out for Thursday against Oklahoma City. We have been hoping and wishing and literally praying that Paolo would make his magical WWE-esque return on Thursday night on TNT against the Thunder, but that is not going to happen. He's officially been ruled out. But yeah, missed the last 23 games now. Magic are obviously missing his presence. And really for me, like, we're at the point where like I could have gone Franz. I really could have gone either way, but I went Paolo because at this point it is obviously more likely than Paolo is going to be back before Franz. I don't have a way to confirm this, but I'm going to trust this person that DM'd us on Twitter. This might be the last time that I ever trust anybody who DMs us. But they said that on Moritz's podcast, he said that Franz's tear, I guess, wasn't as bad as Paolo's, which we kind of like speculated because the like reevaluation window was shorter than Paolo's was. Like Paolo's was 4 to 6, Franz's was 4 weeks. So we kind of deduced from that like, okay, the grade tear probably is not quite as bad. But I genuinely I miss watching Paolo Banchero play basketball so much. He was playing so well to start the year. Obviously had the 50-point game. And I think as much as like Franz is carrying the team, like getting Paolo back, especially without both of those guys, it is just going to inject just so much life and energy and offense back into this team. And I'm interested to see how he looks. Like there might be a little bit of rust, but I'm kind of curious as to what he may have learned or picked up on watching Franz from the bench and the success that Franz had and the success that the rest of the team had. I think Franz probably picked up on a few things from Paolo. So like when it was Franz's turn, he was like, okay, I've seen Paolo do this. I can do this. And I think that helped him. So I'll be interested to see, what Paolo looks like when he returns. But that is the number one item on my Magic Christmas list here.
I'm surprised you didn't just bundle it all, like Paolo and Franz healthy.
That would have that would have been wrong. No.
Okay, well, I guess I respect that. I don't feel like I can turn right around and say I want Franz healthy, because that's like a given. But yeah, I think that's probably the number one on all Magic fans' Christmas list. They want a healthy Paolo, and hopefully we get him soon, maybe even before Christmas. Who knows? I would doubt that, but you never know. For me, I'm going to go a little bit bigger picture with this one, meaning, for the whole season, basically. My first thing on my Christmas wish list, I really still want the Magic to get home court, right? Like that's such a huge thing. Going into the season, I think some people felt, 50-50 as to whether that would happen. You get off to the great start, even without Paolo. You think, oh, it's pretty much a lock considering how the rest of the East is going. And then the Franz injury happens. And now, even now, like we're the 4th seed, and with not a lot of breathing room, between us and the 5 and 6 seed. And so, I'm praying that this team, or I guess I'm wishing, according to this exercise, I'm wishing that this Magic team can stay afloat in these remaining games without Paolo and then the games without Franz, to where once those guys get back, we can go on a tear and stay afloat in the top half of the East. And it's not just about home court advantage in the East, like in the first round, although that's like super important, obviously. But it's also just about like taking another step, right? That's what this season is about. It's about taking another step. Last season, you're the 5 seed. And if we can just take another step to be the 4 seed or higher, that's a huge thing. And then obviously it does have playoff implications. We know how this team plays at home. And if we can have 4 home games in the first round instead of 3, I like our chances to go on to the second round. So that's my first thing on my list. I would love to end up with home court one way or another when we get to the playoffs.
And I was on Knicks film school last weekend ahead of the matchup against the Knicks, and talking with our friend Andrew Claudio. He was basically asking, like, at this point, what is a successful season or what is a failure for the Magic? And at that point, we didn't really have a ton of updates on Paolo, right? But we still don't really know when he's going to be back. That's part of it for me. But I guess before I go to my next item here, like, to you, do you feel like not having home court would be a failure of the season, like all things considered right now?
Not with the injuries, no. I don't think so.
So where would, like, what's the lowest that you would deem the season is successful, and then like how does that translate into playoff success?
If we avoid the play-in, that's a success for me at this point, honestly. Like with these injuries, and we still don't know, Paolo could be out another month. We have no idea, and then we got to wait for Franz. Like, the amount of games missed between those two is going to be significant. Even if you're talking about the games that Paolo missed when Franz was healthy, the fact that we totally overachieved and overperformed during that, I think, contributes too. So yeah, for me, like at this point, avoid the play-in. Maybe that's negative and doomsday of me, but if we can avoid the play-in, I'll be happy. And like I said, if this current iteration of the Magic can stay afloat to give us a position, put us in a position to keep home court once those guys get back, I would be ecstatic about that.
And then if we don't, if we're able to stay out of the play-in, looking at the matchups in the East, would you still be happy if the Magic lost in the first round?
I wouldn't be happy about that, but
would you consider that a failure?
Right. I feel like it's a little too early to answer that, but if you're like
that means you're the 6th seed,
right? So that's what I'm saying. If you're
off
the
against
6th
like
seed,
Cleveland, potentially Boston, probably not, Milwaukee, New York,
right? If it's competitive, probably not. Maybe against Cleveland, I think we should beat them. if we're fully healthy. But against the Milwaukee, I don't know. New York, I don't know. I mean, those are on paper. Those teams are just, again, on paper, I think they're better. But there's just a lot of time. There's too much time, I think, between now and then for me to fully say what I would.
Well, Dame was celebrating the NBA Cup like it was the Larry O'Brien. He was taking it to dinner. Unless I got sentelled, which is a possibility always. But maybe it was sentelled.
I did not see that. So I'm not familiar.
I don't know. Maybe I got sentelled, and that's the danger in today's internet. But,
it's true.
Yeah. For me, the next thing, obviously, like, I'm not going to say Franz, even though, I mean, we kind of mentioned that. That's a given, I guess. But ultimately, I want health, but maybe not for the reason that is like super obvious. Real quick, rewind real fast. Back to what we were talking about with you. Like there's a pretty reasonable chance that like you go 50 plus games without having both Paolo and Franz.
Mm-hmm.
Between the 23 games that Paolo has missed, the last few games that Franz has missed, like you're already in the upper 20s. If you don't get Paolo back for another 5 or 6 games and Franz misses 15 to 20 games, like you could look back and be like, there were 50 games where we either didn't have Paolo or Franz, and that's
right. Or both.
A significant, or both.
Yeah,
that is a significant chunk of the season, you know. So that's something to think about. But again, the next item on my Magic Christmas wish list here, whatever we're calling this, I want to see the team healthy. But the reason for that is because I want to see the role players settle back into their roles. I want to see Jalen Suggs again as a third option and, you know, as that 3-and-D type of guy who in a bailout situation can go and get you a bucket. I want to see Kentavious Caldwell-Pope be more so of like, I went back and looked at a lot of his misses from the past couple of games, and it's a lot of stuff on the movement. I think probably more than we would like. Ultimately, most shooters are best, but I think he is also probably best as just like that both feet set, wide open jump shooter. And he'll get more of that with Paolo and Franz both back in the lineup. But then like just not asking so much from guys like Mo Wagner, who has been really good in an elevated role. He's like the one guy that I'm like, okay, maybe you can kind of keep doing what you've been doing. Like you're doing really well at that. But I think we've been asking and expecting a lot out of guys like Anthony Black. I want to see Tristan da Silva play more consistently with the second unit and against second unit type of guys instead of against starters all the time. I don't know about you. This isn't like, I'm not wishing for this. This isn't on my Christmas list, I guess I would say. But like, I'm pretty much ready for like the Gary Harris experience to be over, for us to move on from this chapter. Not because of anything that like Gary Harris is doing wrong. I mean, he has been hurt a lot and he's missed several games, but I just don't think there's a way that you send Tristan da Silva back to the bench.
You're stealing my wish list, Jonathan. Keep going. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things you've squeezed into this one wish. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying, like, overall, I want to see guys back in their proper roles, and we're just expecting too much out of guys right now, especially since Franz has been out, and it's setting unfair expectations on these guys, and then like there's nowhere to go but down. Like the expectations for some of these guys is so high that there's no way they're going to reach that, so you're nothing but disappointed for the most part. So that's my second one.
Do you think there's, if you like think back on Magic history, have there ever been any players that were put in a position like that and then the fans?
Some people have said, man, but you know, every time I say it, I get killed for it. So
who?
No one comes to mind.
I was trying to get you to. You got to sneak it Evan Fournier into every
baby.
There it is. Every episode. Okay.
Listen, I don't have this like weird love affair. It's just
I know. I don't want to go there.
Really,
I don't want to go there.
It's just really crazy. You do want to go there.
I just wanted to make you say Evan Fournier on this episode. That's what I wanted to do.
It's just really crazy how people don't understand the logic, and there's not a fair standard when it comes to that particular player. Yep. I just think he wasn't terrible. Sue me.
Yes, I agree. Okay. My number 2, I'm not changing it just because you had 7
Your
wishes.
Number 2 is for Evan Fournier to be on this team.
Oh, gosh, no. I'm not changing it because you had 7 wishes in one there. My second wish, for sure, I want Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to shoot the basketball again. That's all I want.
Shoot it.
Christmas.
He's shooting it. You want him to make it again.
Shoot it like he used to, okay? Like, I just... I need it. I need it. That's what I need. Okay. This team needs it. I don't care who's playing, Paolo, Franz, neither. That's what I need. Not only because it will make me sleep better at night, but also I truly believe it can unlock some big potential for this team. Not just regular season. I'm talking postseason too. That is a way that the Magic can beat teams. If Jalen and KCP are knocking down their three balls, which should be more open, like you said, when Paolo and Franz are back, sign me up. But that is my second wish on my list to Santa. I need KCP to knock down his threes again.
It's a list to stuff. Don't insult the dragon.
Stuff a clause. Yep.
Stuff a clause. Okay. My third item then is I just want Cole Anthony to get back to like halfway decent Cole Anthony. Going back to last year, which he did have like the really good, first, what was it, 20, 25, 30 games of the season. But he ended up 11.6 points per game, 43% from the floor, 33.8% from behind the arc, added 3.8 rebounds, 2.9 assists per game. And it felt like every like third game you could count on Cole Anthony to have a halfway decent game where he would have, 12 to 15 points, or, maybe not 12 to like 15 plus points, sometimes a little bit higher than that. And you'd be like, wow, Cole was really good tonight. Like we wouldn't have won that game without him. And there are a couple of games that you could say that about, him this year, but we're 25 games in. You would hope that you can say that for more than a couple of games. Now, part of the problem is like he's just in and out of the rotation constantly. 11 minutes per game, like half of the minutes he was playing last year. He's averaging 5.2 points per game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. A lot of his numbers are down. You would expect to see that with the minutes coming down. Well, for me, it's the efficiencies. 38% from the floor, 30.8% from behind the arc. And when he's in games, he has to find a way to force himself back into the rotation. And if he's not shooting the ball well and providing that spark off the bench, it's just not going to happen. I've been, cheering on and hoping the best for Jet Howard all season long, and all of the criticisms of Jet Howard are fair. Cole Anthony is in his 5th season. Like we should not be like comparing what Jet Howard does on the floor to what Cole Anthony does on the floor. And a lot of times, like Cole is not impacting the game significantly more than Jet Howard is. Like you could argue that at some times it feels like they're both hurting you equally. And with all these guys out, Jamal Mosley is begging for somebody in that sort of like secondary, like backcourt, like next to Anthony Black, somebody to like take those minutes. Jet Howard's gotten chances. Cole Anthony's gotten chances. Caleb Houston's gotten chances. And there just is not an answer right now. And if Cole Anthony could get back to 43% from the floor, 33% from behind the arc, he would get more minutes and it would make a big difference for that bench unit.
First off, Jonathan, I just want to say you might be the first person ever to put Cole on your Christmas list.
I hate you.
That's pretty good.
Well
right?
done. Well done. Let's done.
Go. I've only been sitting on that for the last 4 minutes. You've been explaining it. No, I'm really proud of that one. Okay,
that was good.
That's very good. My third thing on my list is very, very related to what you're saying. You went down the list. Cole, Gary, Jet, Caleb, all given opportunities to be that second member of the backcourt. I'm going back to what you mentioned in your second one. I'm ready to move on from that group. I would love more than anything for a Cole Anthony redemption arc story, right? Like you said, I love Cole. I love his energy. I love what he brings to this team as far as his spirit and his tenure here, right? He's one of the most tenured guys on the team now because he's been around since 2020. And I love all those things, and I'd love to see that redemption arc, but I'm with you. We're in year 5. We're in game number 27, 8, whatever it is now of this season, and it's just not working. And so for me, the next thing on my list, I am ready for a small trade. I'm ready for a small deal.
That was my next one.
Well, you can share. We can share. We can both have the same, cool bike on our list, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just ready.
Trunk.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. What?
Bike in it.
What'd you say?
No, it's a movie quote. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. Got me all. Okay. So yeah, That's my wish here because two reasons. Number one, the guys are just not getting it done, right? It's just not working. Nothing has worked. Like you said, Jamal has tried everything. Nothing is working. Nobody's grabbed it. And I also just think this team could use a shot in the arm, right? Like mix it up a little bit, add a little bit of different flavor, new life, new attitude, whatever it is. Ultimately, I just want it to be someone that can score the basketball. That's what I want. I want someone to pair up with Anthony Black, like you said, on that second unit and be able to score the basketball, preferably at all three levels, honestly. If they can get to the rim, great. If they can knock it down from outside, great. I don't care if they're streaky, honestly. They can be streaky. They don't have to do it every night. And honestly, for the people that you're trading, that's probably what you're going to get is a streaky person. But I just feel like that needs an upgrade more than anything right now at this spot. So that's my third one is a trade for another guard that can come off the bench.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think you hit it on the head right there. Like this team needs a shot in the arm, but some of these young guys, they need a reminder that like, hey, if you're not performing, this isn't the developmental program anymore of the Orlando Magic. Like we're trying to win basketball games. And as much as I would love to say, move Cole and Gary, bring in a piece that's, non-significant and give all these minutes to Jet Howard. If we could afford to do that, right? Like if we were playing Jet Howard 20 minutes a game and sure, he's making a lot of mistakes, but you're still finding ways to win games sort of like in spite of that. Cool. But at this point, we just can't afford that. And it pains me to say that because I really genuinely do believe in Jet Howard's talent. I have seen enough defensively where if you're able to work with him enough and give him enough time and enough reps, I think he could become Cole Anthony on that end where sometimes he's just going to get beat, but the effort is so clearly there. The thing with Cole is that as a defender, he didn't have a ton of like mental lapses. Jet is still having like multiple defensive lapses per game. And you just can't have that, especially if you're not knocking down shots in the way that we need him to. And that's the other end of it, is it just feels like he needs to be able to play with the freedom where he's allowed to play through mistakes. Right now, it just seems like he's playing so tense because he knows how short the leash is. Every time he makes a mistake or if he checks into a game and he misses like 2 good looks in a row, he's getting pulled because he's not like this, instant cup of noodles microwave guy that we need him to be. So I would love for him to get that opportunity here. I still think there is a path if he is able to be patient enough, but I understand as like the 11th pick in the draft if you don't want to be patient and like going to another opportunity where he could get more of an opportunity and play more minutes. So I would hate to see him moved, but it feels like that is the move that really needs to be made to help this team take the next step outside of like the big trade to upgrade the starting center position, which is not happening this season for a number of reasons. So the inter-season move that needs to be made is to give Anthony Black a more consistent backcourt mate, which brings me to my number 4 on our wish list. I need more consistency out of Anthony Black. Started the season really well, 10 points, 10 points, 10 points, 8 points. And then, started to, 8 points, 4 points, 7 points, 2 points, 3 points. But it's inconsistency in terms of like the way that he's attacking the basket. The shooting is like fallen off a cliff. He has not hit a 3 since the Charlotte game on November 25th. In, 3 weeks, basically. He hasn't hit a 3. He's gone 0 for 0, 0 for 0, 0 for 0, 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 0 for 3, 0 for 0, 0 for 1. So the like set shots that he was getting in the corner with both Paolo and Franz in the lineup, he's really not getting those as much. And those like wing and above the break threes, they're not falling right now. But some games he's really aggressive in getting to the rim and he looks great. Like when we talk about the Milwaukee game, 17 points, 6 of 12 from the 4, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. He's not going to give you 17 every night, but that's the level of aggression that we need from Anthony Black. We go back to that Philly game that we won in Philly. The Wednesday before we played them again on Friday. 10 points, 7 assists, 5 of 10 from the floor. That's the Anthony Black that we need, right? All the people that are really high on Anthony Black, It's the size, it's the defense, and it's the aggression and his ability to get downhill and finish at the rim through contact. And if he's not doing that, I don't want to say he's a non-shooter because we've seen him knock down threes and he's willing to take those shots, but he's not a shooter either yet. He's kind of like that in between, and he's working on improving that. But I just need to see more consistency out of Anthony Black, especially if he's going to be as good as we all think he can be.
Yeah, 100% agree. And he was very integral to some of those early wins too, because of how he was playing. Like, he was a big part of some of those wins. And so I think he could be not just, we don't want that growth just for long term, but even for this season, I think he can contribute to some wins. So that's great. My number 4, I want to take you back, Jonathan, to before the season started, before there were any oblique tears, before any of that.
Better times
For sure. We made, I don't remember how many, it might have just been one, like a really bold prediction. We each made one bold prediction. Do you remember what mine was by chance?
No, okay. I don't remember what mine was.
Must not have been that bold. I don't remember yours either. So there we go. My bold prediction was that the Magic were going to sweep the Miami Heat this season. Okay. Which preseason, slightly bold, but not anything crazy. After the season started, not bold at all, right? Like, teams were in opposite directions. Now, given particularly the health state of the Magic, looks pretty doubtful. But here's why I'm bringing it up to you today. Because the Orlando Magic play the Miami Heat at home twice in the next week. Okay. So once again, I am asking Santa and honestly the Lord above at this point, I want to sweep the Heat. Not just because I want to sweep the Heat, Jonathan, but because if the Magic can find a way to win 2 of these next 5 games against this very difficult schedule of OKC, Miami, Boston, Miami, New York. If the Magic are to sweep the Heat, that means they win 2 of those 5 games in that homestand. And I think would be very big for the morale of this team. Again, I mentioned on the last episode, I'm just a little fearful that 1 loss can turn into 2 losses, can turn into 5 losses when you're just trying to figure something out without Paolo and Franz. And so I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing back my bold prediction and asking for stuff Santa to grant us the season sweep of the Heat, specifically these 2 games against the Heat over the next week.
My 5th and final Christmas Magic wish here is for Moritz Wagner to get more respect and more recognition in terms of the 6th man of the year race.
Mm-hmm.
As of Wednesday night when we're recording this, he's 2nd in the entire league in bench scoring behind only Peyton Pritchard, who probably deservedly is the front runner right now in the 6th man of the year race. But when you look at Vegas Insider, like most sports books have Mo Wagner like 5th at best or 6th at best in terms of 6th man of the year odds, like at plus 5,000. Peyton Pritchard is the heavy favorite at a lot of those sports books, like minus 600. But Mo is a plus 5,000. So yeah, it's just crazy. Again, 2nd in the league in bench scoring, and through like that stretch of where we were winning, 12 out of 13, 13 out of 14, that kind of stuff. He was the 2nd leading scorer on this team during that stretch. So not only is he coming in off of the bench and like scoring a lot of points, doing so really efficiently and in a short amount of time, but he's also like been really impactful in this team winning and staying afloat without Paolo Banchero. And then like Franz Wagner goes out and he goes, I'm just going to have 32 points against the Milwaukee Bucks and set my career high. Like he's not being talked about at all in some of these 6th man of the year conversations. And just like nationally, I feel like he should get way more respect. I tweeted this out during one of our recent games. I don't know if it was against Milwaukee or if it was against New York, but like him getting underneath other teams' skin, it used to feel like it was all antics. Like he was just being a pest. He was just being annoying. But part of it now is like he's out there busting dudes' butts and they find him annoying already. So the fact that like a lot of these guys just can't guard him and aren't able to stop him from scoring, it really bothers some of these guys. And then of course he starts talking more, which if you ask him, he never starts it. He only retaliates. Who knows how true that is. But I just feel like he should get so much more respect for the role that he's playing for this team and how well he's playing it.
So you think Mo respect from Mo is what you're saying? That's what you want to see.
I'm sick of this guy.
All right,
so sick of this guy.
It's so. First off, I agree. But secondly, my fifth and final thing on my list also had to do with an annual award. Mine is Jamal Mosley. Yes. Right now, if you ask me, right now should be the front runner for Coach of the Year. He's not, because Kenny Atkinson got off to a hot start. Blah blah blah. We get it, but I think that first off, that's my wish list that he wins Coach of the Year. This stretch without Paolo and Franz has the potential, in my mind, to really turn heads. Hopefully, I don't think it will, because national media and they don't like the agendas that push the Magic. But if the Magic, again, if they can find a few wins here in the interim with this group of guys that we have, and then get Paolo back and then get Franz back and close the season strong, he should be right there. He was there last year. He was second last year. So if you're asking me, that is my fifth one. I want Jamal Mosley to win Coach of the Year. I think he deserves it, not just for this season, but for his whole body of work over the course of these. Is this season 4 with him? I think it is, right?
It's Franz's fourth year. Yeah. It's season 4 for Jamal Mosley.
I think he deserves it, again, for the body of work from the first season to now. He's deserved it. I think probably last year, but this year for sure. That's my fifth and final wish. I want Jamal Mosley to win Coach of the Year.
Well, they've given a couple of MVP awards for like bodies of work, right? Like they gave Russell Westbrook an MVP. Right. They gave Joel Embiid an MVP last year, even though I don't really think he deserved it. That was more just like a fine here.
Right.
Like, you're gonna keep crying about it. Here it is. But Jamal Mosley, like I'm looking at oddschecker.com.
Last I saw he was still second.
He's third. Just like they take odds from all over. So like FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesar Sportsbook, and they basically like take all of those and it's a cumulative type of thing. But like a lot of these, Ime Udoka at second has a sizable lead. Like Kenny Atkinson is the favorite. He's minus 125, minus 130 at some of these places. Ime Udoka is like plus 330, plus 300, plus 260, plus 275. Jamal Mosley is plus 900, plus 1,000, plus 1,100. What has Ime Udoka done to be, besides, sleep with his, former employee, somebody's wife or something like that? Hey, whatever. We're getting personal over here. They're being personal with my dog Jamal. I'm getting personal with Ime. Like, what has he done this season to deserve Coach of the Year? Like, they're 17-9. The Magic are 17-11, and the Magic have been doing this without their best player, and now they're doing it without their very best, like, two players in Franz and Paolo. So you miss me with the Ime Udoka stuff. To me, it's just a Houston thing. It's a Texas thing. It's in a bigger market. West Coast people watch the Rockets more than they watch the Magic, all that kind of stuff. It's just a ridiculous kind of stupid market bias. Nothing you can do is going to convince me that Ime Udoka is doing a better job this year than Jamal Mosley. It's not like there was no Ime Udoka last year for Houston. Now he's just turned them around. Ime Udoka is in year 2 in Houston. And again, Jamal Mosley is doing what he's done without his very best player, and now without his two best players.
And yeah, that's the part that's so hard, is the odds. And I don't mean the Vegas odds. I just mean in general, like the Magic are going to have to go on a crazy run in the second half of the season for Jamal Mosley to win Coach of the Year. That's the part that sucks, right? Like, it's just the way it is. So,
I don't know that I would agree with that. I think that Kenny Atkinson has a stranglehold on Coach of the Year right now because of the way that they started. And they're still 23-4. They're top of the East. Like, it makes sense, right? Like, they have the best record in the entire league. But over the course of an 82-game season, if they end up like 2 or even 3 in the Eastern Conference, then you have to look at the body of work at that point and say, like, sure, they had a hot start, but like there's a reason they came back down to earth. And they were the 4th seed last year. If let's say they end up in like 3rd, I think there's a chance that Kenny Atkinson isn't just like running away with it. I still give Jamal Mosley a good chance, because like, let's say the Magic finished 3rd in the Eastern Conference. To say for over half the season you didn't have either Paolo or Franz or both of them, and you finished 3rd in the Eastern Conference, and a ton of guys obviously are going to take steps forward. I think that could put him in the conversation.
I agree, but I think that is going to take a impressive second half of the season from the team. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I have an honorable mention, Jonathan.
Sure.
Can I throw an honorable mention? It's not really Magic. Actually, it's not Magic related at all. Okay. My honorable mention is Santa, I wish and I hope that these new Taco Bell chicken nuggets are good. That's
facts.
That's my next one. I knew I just want to throw that softball up to you and just let you hit it out of the park. Here we go, Jonathan. Go ahead.
Yeah, Taco Bell's just really underrated in my opinion, and there has been a bias and a stigma that's been slapped over Taco Bell in recent years, where people act like they're just too good to eat it. Like I'm always like, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget when you were 15, 16 years old, doing your little bag boy shifts at Publix or Chick-fil-A, wherever you were, and like on a Friday night you're rolling around with your boys and you're all hungry, and you went up and hit up the dollar menu at Taco Bell. Don't forget the way that Taco Bell held you down. And Taco Bell, in my opinion, like they're always adding new stuff to their menu. If you're somebody who enjoys variety and you don't want the same old thing, like you go to McDonald's has been the same exact thing for the last 30 years, right? Wendy's is pretty good. Like every now and then they'll have a new item. Burger King is also really good. But just in terms of like versatility and turnaround on the menu, sometimes to a fault, Taco Bell is by far and away in terms of like versatility and adding new things to their menu. That's my biggest criticism of Taco Bell. They have something on their menu that is just like awesome. 3 months later, you go and it's gone.
Yep.
They don't know how to hold on to a good thing.
Right.
But I'm right there with you. I hope the chicken nuggets are really good.
Maybe we'll have to get some before the game tomorrow. I don't know if you want to meet me at Taco Bell.
I think I'm gonna go. Jam hot.
Wow, I got rejected on the air. Okay, that's fine. I mean, Jam Hot's great too. We love Jam. Also, another chicken place. So maybe I shouldn't be talking about another chicken option out there, but obviously Jam is the best. But
I don't think the chicken nuggets are going to give Jam Hot any real competition.
Not.
Luckily,
absolutely not. But yeah, that was a fun exercise, Jonathan. Nice Christmas list. I think a lot of Magic fans will have some similar. You have an honorable mention? Oh, let's hear it.
One more Christmas wish is for y'all to go buy a shirt at the6manshow.com/shop.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's going to be my last one right there.
Okay, that's good. I like that one.
All right, looking forward to tonight, our group night, Magic versus the Thunder on Oklahoma City. No, on TNT versus OKC. And yeah, if you're coming tonight and you're sitting with us, or you're just going to be at the game in general, I want us to shift the atmosphere in that building, right? Like we're not too far from the OKC bench, and I just want that to be a crazy atmosphere for our guys. Ultimately, it is on the guys on the floor to give us reasons to cheer. But I think Jalen was on the pod squad this past week talking about how in our building now, we don't have to go on a crazy run. Like we just have to make a couple of baskets and then the crowd is like right back into it. So we want that to be an awesome atmosphere. Looking forward to that. If you're at the game and you just want to come and say what's up, please don't be shy. Don't be nervous. Like we see people at these games sometimes like looking at us kind of weird. It's like, does this guy want to steal my kidneys? Right. Or does he want to come and say what's up? Usually it's the latter.
Right.
And then we'll get a message on social media later like, hey, I saw you guys at the game. I was afraid to come and say what's up. Just come say what's up. We're just normal dudes. We want to say what's up. We love when you guys come and say hi. Yeah. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a great time.
Absolutely. Can't wait. So excited. And please, let's get a win. Come on.
It would be really great to get a win.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to wrap this one up. Appreciate you all listening. Let us know in the comments below what is on your Magic Christmas wish list. What do you want under stuff? Anyways, I was going to throw a joke in earlier talking about the shirts and be like, oh, they're made from 100% like stuff fur. But I thought some people would find that weird. And they're white, not green.
Let's end the show.
Maybe we do some kind of like stuff-esque shirt at some point. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to wrap this one up. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to The Sixth Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!